Hello, hello, everybody. Welcome back. We are here with the Valravn today. Um, we did trade the Chimera Navy issue, and the Valravn is one of a few ships that I got as a trade. Um, we'll cover the other ships that I got as we go, but it's gonna be a while before I can get them fitted and ready to go. Hi, Riley. Hi, Jitter. So, the Valravn. I think the Valravn is by far the best Lancer Dreadnought. Why do I say that? So let's go into the fittings here. I'm going to turn off the blocks so you can see what's going on. Stock standard. This is a pretty standard fit for a Valravn. I don't have the power grid right now to have like a Nosferatu or anything, so once I have that, I'll throw on a Nosferatu, and that'll be really good. But the Valravn has a few bonuses that make it extraordinary above all other Dreadnoughts. So, the first thing to note here, you do actually get, like, a bonus to extenders, shield, or armor. You also have that 2-minute capital emergency hold energizer activation extension. So you would have 5 minutes, I believe it was, of immunity pretty much in hull if you were to use that. You get a 50% bonus to the close in defense gun damage. That is your Sea Whiz. That would be this little guy right here. So you get a 50% damage bonus on that compared to the 0% on a T1 Dread or the 100% on a Bodyguard. Your first bonus here, and I only have this at 4, I am working toward having this at 5. We have capital cannon damage and capital cannon activation time. This applies to all of the capital weapons, whether it be barreled, autocannon, or strike cannon for capital weapons. This right here is where all of its DPS comes from. It is incredible how powerful this ship is in comparison to its bodyguard and its T1 variant. The Valravn, with the DPS that it can output, is either going to be slotted into extreme, like, ratting, where you're just popping off damage as quick as you can possibly do it, and clearing out anomalies as quick as you can, or it's going to be relegated to, like, a block fleet roll, where someone will light a Sino on a target, you will pop this thing in there, drop every bit of DPS you have on that target within about 30 seconds, and then try to get out of there. Hopefully, whatever you were dropped on has already died by the time you kill it. Hopefully. By the time you drop all of your DPS. So, very important to have these activation time and damage bonuses. The Advanced Capital Cannon Operation will give you 7.5% fall off per level, and it will give you 7.5% tracking speed per level. What this means is that if you were to run the barreled um, the barreled cannons, you would have better tracking than most battleships. We're talking about like 5.5 something. Hi Snoopy, how you doing today? But yeah, so you would have like 5.5 tracking speed, which is better than most battleships will have. And then you also have the accuracy fall off. So, in a subcap environment, the Valravn will handle subcapitals extraordinarily well because of this tracking speed. It will also be able to hit at much further ranges than expected of most dreadnoughts as well. The Valravn very comfortably can be shooting quite far compared to other dreadnoughts. So you have two options here. Because of the tracking increase, you can actually pretty well use the autocannons in most environments. However, if you find yourself in like a PvP scenario, you can easily use the autocannons to pop anything that is stationary or slightly moving. Or you can go with the barreled cannons, and you'll be able to hit most moving targets without like afterburners or micro warp drives. It is a very powerful ship. The last bonus you get is your choice. You have the choice of shield boost amount, or armor repair amount. Both of these are very, very nice skills to have on here. I really do think that the Valravn is the most powerful of the Lancer Dreadnoughts, and may even be the most powerful Dreadnought we have right now. It just has so many DPS, application, tank skills on everything it has here to make it a significant threat. Well, let's get into what I've got. Normally I run a different fit, but while I'm on stream, I will be running a fit similar to this, where I'm running the 3 capital autocannons. I'm gonna be running either the anti-ship or the versatile, and I'm really leaning toward the versatile because what we'll do today will have some fighters in it, I hope. We run the 2 shield boosters, 2 hardeners, and a gyro. We also have 2 cap batteries and the micro warp drive so we can get around a little bit quicker. As for the mid slots, realistically, I should have the siege module, the longbow module, a target painter, the grappler, the scram, and a web. So this one extra target painter really should be the longbow fire control module. However, because I don't have enough actual power grid to fit that, along with the other fit that I want here, we'll get into that in a minute. if I have the power grid, I could fit the longbow module and maybe even drop the web for a Nosferatu. Or, instead of the Nosferatu, I can go into these modules here in my low slots and upgrade them to a better fit. So instead of like C types, maybe I could go up to B types and use that little bit of extra power grid to my advantage. Alright, let's go ahead and undock here. Oh, I'm an idiot. There we go. I really ought to just not care. Anyway, let's go ahead and undock here.
Undocking.
And we'll have a look at sort of some of the active stats. Yep, that sun is absolutely bright in my system. It's fantastic. We are going to be using the artillery cover level 22 here with the shield boost GU, a gyro stabilizer GU, and the other gyro stabilizer GU. The shield boost GU gives me the extra 24% shield repair amount, which is very valuable on this ship. Right now, without the siege module, each of these shield boosters has 25,000. When we use the siege module, we now go up to 50,000 per shield booster, and they activate every 4.3 seconds. This is a lot of healing in a very short amount of time. It is absolutely awesome. On our high slots, we have the capital autocannons. Each one's putting about 5,065 DPS on our grid at a range of 96 kilometers, 97 kilometers. And that is with just standard autocannons. It has a base tracking speed of 0.81. This is higher than most dreadnoughts will get on their autocannons. When I activate my implant, we now have shorter range, so we're actually only going to be at like 72 kilometers, 73 kilometers, but we now have a 1.01 tracking speed. This is the same as most battleships with a strike cannon, for example. So you can track pretty well with these autocannons, even at very short ranges. But you do still have to pick your targets. Okay. Alright, and the last thing we're going to go through, as you see, I do have the Wings of Abundance Nanocore. I am running the 19% cannon damage and 7.3 shield amount. With the siege active, we have 15,194 DPS. With my one gyro stabilizer active, let's pull that up. We are at 18,734. Very nice. Normally, I run more DPS when I know I'm safe. Otherwise, for this stream, we're gonna have 18,000 on the artillery cover module. Alright, we have a couple things to run here.
Autopilot engaged. Destination reached.
Here we go. I don't know what size lab this is,
Warp drive
but
active.
we should be fine. Being that we have a base DPS of 15,000, that means we know we can take any cyan spawn that happens. About 14,000 DPS is where you want to be to start breaking the tank of a cyan spawn. It's going to be a little bit of lag as we warp in here. We're going to rely on the versatile Sea-Wiz for most of our damage application here.
We're being warp scrambled. We're being warp scrambled.
Yeah, that's awesome. The Hyperion Bomber is a really good ship. I love it. You can see here we're not having any trouble targeting and hitting these battle cruisers. And the same should go for the cruisers as we clear them out. Once that battle cruiser slows down, it will die. I seriously really enjoy Valravn as a ship. It is so good.
Enemy ships detected. We're under attack. We're being warp scrambled.
So, for a ship like I have, I do tend to cycle the guns on their own cycles, so that way I am not wasting DPS. Here's where that scram and web and target painter will come in handy as we try to target this rupture. And we killed it. The closer targets can be a little bit harder to track, but once you slow them down just a little, it's no problem at all. You can see here we're doing pretty chunky hits on these battleships. No problem at all for us. The tank is also fairly decent on the ship. My resistances are pretty even across the board. About 70 to 75% right now. Let's get some
We're
more
under attack.
battleships in here. We're relying pretty heavily on this
We're being warp
versatile
scrambled.
sea whiz to take care of the small ships and get rid of any
We're being
sort
warp
of
scrambled.
scram or disruptor I have on me. A little bit of lag there. Hey, Aizen, how you doing today?
Enemy ships detected. We're under attack.
Here we have 8 battleships on grid here.
We're being warp
Nice.
scrambled.
Hopefully you got some good loot out of it.
We're being warp scrambled. We're being warp scrambled.
Aw, that's too bad. There we go, there's a 14,000, there's a 23,000. Just not a problem for this ship. that moment where we're just kind of waiting for the ship to slow down enough.
Enemy
Okay,
ships
last
detected.
wave. Let's see, do we have a cyan spawn? Nope,
We're
doesn't
under
look like
attack.
it. Whew, lots of battleships though. If you can keep this ship in a lab, or any sort of like large anomaly, it will make a lot of hits for you. DCU for Yellow Hunter. It depends on what you're up against.
We're being warp scrambled.
What kind of rats are you usually against? Are you against Minmatar, Kaldari, Galente, or a bar normally? Okay, so you must be in Courtland then. Yeah, a yellow will do pretty good against the Galente rats. I don't think you'll really need it. Oh, we were fine doing the large anomalies, with the other ships, but the DPS was just really low on my other ships because of the way that I rigged them. Which is mostly defense-oriented. This ship is primarily built for doing this kind of stuff, where it's just a DPS fest. But yeah, this is the Valravn. See here. It is a much better ship than most dreadnoughts. Ooh, yeah, I'm pretty close to 555 on Seaways for one of my characters. The rest of them are at like 4-4. Okay, so we stated about the health that this thing has. 559,000 shield means that we can heal 1/5 of our shield every time we use both of our shield boosters. So in our case, if we really wanted to, we could just do it. Okay, let me hide my screen yet again so I can grab this.
Autopilot destination reached.
Alright, and we're back.
Warp drive active.
The ship is also fairly quick to warp anyway. It is still kind of a faction ship. The Valravn kind of sits within that Lancer Dreadnought category, which is a mix between faction ship and normal ship. So it's pretty cool to see.
We're under attack.
So we talked a little bit about the healing. Let's go ahead and actually show it off. So when I pop one of my boosters there, well, we only need those 2 cycles to get from where we were to full health. And then the rest of that cap battery is not necessary. Yeah, things are fairly quiet. I've got quite a few people in my system, and I'm trying to keep an eye on things around me as well. How you doing, Meter? This is not an abyss. This is called a laboratory mission. It is a mission in regular space that is pretty much, I don't know what to compare it to in EVE Online, but yeah.
Enemy ships detected.
I really don't know what to compare it to. It's
We're
kind
under
of
attack.
like the... No, I shouldn't have done that.
We're being warp
Oh well.
scrambled.
It's kind of like some of the wormhole space encounters that you get. That's the best I can compare it to. Sorry, I'm trying to do something here and I keep messing up the screen. Yeah. Would be nice if we could have like 10 lock targets at a time. Oh, nice. Praxis is a
Enemy
great ship.
ships detected.
I love it. It's much better in EVE Online, but Eve Echoes, it's not bad.
We're under attack. We're being warp scrambled.
Yeah, it's a really good ship for just learning how each weapon system works. Because it has bonuses to every single one. So you'll see here our first bounty tick here. Not the greatest, 56 million. But you know, it's not bad. In my normal large anomalies, I would be getting somewhere around 62 to 65 million.
We're being warp scrambled.
But even at 56 million, that's 100. That is 106 million just from that, and the extra 17. So 120 million just for doing a lab. I'll take it. If we're lucky, we'll see a NPC cyan spawn. That would be very fun. Peter, if you're flying the Gnosis and the Praxis, I highly recommend you go with a drone fit, and then whatever high slot you want to go with for your main weapon. Drones are going to be your focus, though. Just waiting to slow down this Angel Tornado a little bit more. There we go, we're starting to do damage. Last shift is this little stabber here.
Enemy ships
Wave
detected.
4. Lots
We're
of
under
battleships here.
attack.
Yeah, the relics in Null are pretty cool. You just have to try to not get killed. That's the biggest thing. What? Why are you activating at the same time? I did not sign up for that. Yeah, this is very tough content for most battleships. It can be done, but it is tough. Got some more lag here. Pretty much constantly having to fix the cycling of my gun. Yeah, normally I don't mind some micromanagement, but because it's the way that I fly dreadnoughts, I always want to make sure my guns are cycling separate from each other. It's just the way that I fly dreadnoughts. The only times I will just absolutely rail something in the face is if I don't have the single shot damage to overcome something, but as a 3-shot all in one go, it's just enough to break the tank
Enemy
for something.
ships detected.
Okay, let's
We're
see
under
if we
attack.
got lucky, and we did. Alright, so we have a researcher Cyan. Let's go ahead and start working on that. It's gonna take us a little while to break that tank, and this will give us a good test of our tank as well. I have a pretty minimal tank build, but I know my ship is capable of healing a fifth of its health every single cycle of my 2 group shield boosters. Or not group shield boosters, shield booster, regular ones. You'll see there's a lot of DPS incoming, and it's definitely going to be a thing when one of these Cyans shows up. If you are in a position where you cannot handle this level of DPS, what you should do is try to warp out before the wave starts. And then come back at a different time. You can see here we're just very slowly trying to chip through the shields of the Cyan. That's where most of the Cyan's strength is.
We're being warp scrambled.
It has quite a few boosts to shield boosting, and this Cyan doesn't seem to have a yellow equipped to it, which is good. A Cyan that spawns with the yellow reactive shield hardener can be very hard to kill. Go ahead and see if we can speed up some of our damage here. It is 15,000 right now. It is just about 1,000 DPS more than I need to break to tank on a Cyan. If I had some better hits, it would be a lot faster, but we've been getting some 8,000s, some 6,000s in there. It's kind of annoying, but that's what it is. This is not an Nagelfar. There we go. Now that we're in the armor of the Cyan, we're going to be getting pretty good hits in here. Still quite a lot of DPS going on here, but not terrible. We know we can pretty much comfortably tank the DPS of the last wave of a 7 million lab. And we're not having to cycle our batteries every 30 seconds to keep ourselves alive. What's nice about the Valravn is you have the option of armor or shield tank. I prefer a shield tank, but an armor tank will also do pretty well. Where is that Cyan? There he is. No? Where are you? There you are. Way down there. Oh, and there it goes. Alright, from here on out, we should just be able to very quickly kill everything off. Yeah, I mean, an armor tank in Minotaur space is a little bit more rough, but because of the capacitor need of armor tank, it ends up working out pretty well. I'm gonna see if I can loot all this stuff. We have a lot of battleships on grid. There's a pretty decent bounty tick there. 69 million. 20 million from our corporation bonus. And then if we use our commendation, that is another 50 million. So that there,
Warning. Capacitor
when you
running
leave your
low.
shield boosters running, it's not a good idea. I'm gonna use my second battery just to give myself a break on the capacitor. And let my capacitor recharge here. Let's get that web and that scram on him. That'll slow him down quite drastically. And we are now down to the last few. I left my repairers running. That is my fault. I forgot to turn off my shield boosters. But that's exactly why I run like 2 batteries at least on everything, is that I can offset that mistake pretty easily. So something to note here, while I could have had a faster clear time by running the anti-ship Sea-Wiz, that one. while I could have had a faster time running the anti-ship Sea-Wiz, the versatile Sea-Wiz was the only one that could actually target the fighters, and that keeps a lot of problems off of me. Okay, we're gonna show off my new friend here out. There we are. Okay, let's go ahead and start approaching the loop here. It's gonna take me a while. I don't have any integrated salvagers. I don't have a afterburner or micro warp drive. Nice, we got a medium micro warp drive, which I think is what I need. The Cyan dropped Mark 9 capital barreled missile launcher. It also dropped a bunch of faction modules in here. Yeah. Yeah, you really can't do a whole lot to fighters with the anti-ship. You can't do anything to fighters with an anti-ship, and that's why I swapped to the versatile Sea-Wiz when we came in here. It was a better choice for what we were going to be running. If we ended up with like 2 Cyans that spawn, every single one of those fighters is worth a decent amount of bounty. So it's nice to have that capability of just wiping them off the grid. Alright. I think that is gonna do it for the showcase of the Valravn. Look at my capacitor already back at 69%. So, thank you all so much for joining me. Your support has been awesome. I really cannot thank you enough. So thank you. Take care, and be safe.